Hi, everyone. Hope everyone is having a fantastic day on this lovely Tuesday. Just kind of wait and see if I get some more people on. We'll get started in a couple of minutes, guys. Not a couple of minutes, couple of seconds. Excuse me. I can't believe it's Tuesday. These Tuesdays roll up so fast. And if you see that I'm in a different position, guys, this summer sun is like just beaming in, as you can see, or that side. And I didn't want to blind you all with my forehead and face because the sun is right there on there. So I'm going to get on here. On this. As always, guys, if you have any questions, please drop them in the comments. We are live. If there's ever a chance that these are pre-recorded, I will let you know. But as of right now, these are live. And if you have any type of comments in that you would like to ask, put it in the comment section. Okay. All right. Awesome. So today, what I want to talk to you about was rent versus buy. Yes, I'm having that talk today. Hey, Keith. I see Keith is all joined. Hey. Again, guys, put your comments down below and I'll make sure I can get everything answered. And a great lineup of people that are coming in. Guys, you want to stay tuned these Tuesday tune-ins. We're going to have some attorneys on. It's going to talk about some great information today, but every Tuesday for the next month of June and July. We're going to also have some additional other lenders that's going to come through to talk and speak about things, as well as, I had a property inspector last week, as well as we're going to have security. Anything dealing with the homes, we're going to have people on there so you could be able to learn more about. All right. Okay. So the things I want to talk to you about was the difference between renting versus buying. And here's the thing, guys. It's easy. And I'm going to be fair because I don't want you to, you're a real estate agent, so you go tell us to buy. I do that because I truly believe in buying. But I'm going to also go through the pros and cons. That way you can be able to make your own choice and decision. All right. So one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about is with renting. I'm going to make you all laugh. I tell this to everybody. My husband and I, we didn't purchase our first home until about 6 years ago. So up until that time, we rented. I tell people all the time, I was a professional renter. You hear me? I was good at renting. I made sure that when I left, you couldn't even tell we was in there. And this, with us having 3 small babies, we made sure we got everything that we were supposed to have back. I was a professional renter. So I'm not saying at all that if you do rent, that something's wrong with that. I was there. But I want to talk to you about the pros and cons in regards to the difference between renting and buying. All right. So one thing about renting is you have flexibility. It is a little bit more flexible. I remember, especially when I got my first apartment, I was all about, okay, whoever had, back in, I don't know if they still have this, but back in the day, they would have it to where they give you a month free, or if you want to stay near where the pool was at or be on the top floor, it was a discount. Or, normally when it was cost more to be on the top floor. And so I would move literally every end of my term, I would move. I had moved, oh gosh, if I was to go through the list of how much I moved, this is a lot. And I'm talking about within the apartment complex, because they would sometimes have those corner apartments, or they would have ones up top, the ones overlooking the pool, the ones that's in the back for more privacy. And so whenever I had a chance that I could be able to move, especially when they upgraded these apartments to where they had studio apartments, and they were a little bit bigger, I would do that. So yes, you do have the flexibility, because you're literally in there about 6 months, 12-month term period, sometimes a little bit more, if you can negotiate that in. But that's the average. Another thing is lower cost to get in there. Now, I'm gonna be honest, back in the day when I was renting, they used to have it to where you could pay a couple of $100 and you could get into that apartment. Then they started, okay, at least 1 month's rent, then sometimes 2 months rent. But then now, honestly, I've heard to where they want as much as 3 times as much as the monthly rent for your security deposit. So it just depends. If you're going to be renting an apartment, normally if you're renting a home, they want a little bit more. But now with these townhomes that we're seeing they want at least 2-3 months sometimes. And it also depends on credit score too. But still, that security deposit is a little bit lower compared to if you was to purchase sometimes. Maintenance free. There's nothing like calling the landlord, hey, my HVAC is out, and the landlord jumps on it normally. I've had, it's supposed to, oh, my stove's out, or there's a leak, toilet's overflowed. You call the maintenance for the apartment complex. They normally have a 24-hour. Now they probably have a nice little, setup as far as with maintenance requests, but you had that to where you have access to, so you didn't have to really too much worry about the upkeep of the home because you just had, property managers you can call. And then also you could predict what your monthly expense was going to be. If your rent was $1,250, you knew your rent was going to stay $1,250. It may go up, depending on, if you lease, if you renewed your lease, but it didn't go up much. Sometimes it just stayed the same. You didn't have to worry about, having a huge amount that's owed at the end of the leases. Normally you did what you had to do and you made sure that you can get your lease back. Okay. Let's talk about some of the details as far as the disadvantages of renting. The big one is no equity. No equity. And here's the thing, guys. You're going to always need a place to stay. You're going to always need a place to stay. You're going to always have to have somewhere where you need to lay your head, or your family has a place to lay their head, and you're going to have to pay for it. So why not pay for it and get money at least back? And so with renting, you don't have any equity. So let's say that $1,250 that we're talking about. I'll bring up my calculator. We have $1,250 times 12, because that's the normal term of the lease. That's $15,000. $15,000. And you might have paid 1 month's rent up front. We'll say 2. Okay. So $2,500 extra on that. So that's a total of $17,500. $17,500 is what you paid for that year. But when you leave out, guess how much you're going to get back? And that's if you make sure that the property is in the same condition. You're only going to get back $2,500. So that's $15,000 that you literally have paid each year that you cannot get that back. And let's just say if you've done this for over 10 years, guys, that adds up to $150,000 that you put into somebody else's property and you're not getting that money back. It's one of the big disadvantages. You have limited control. I always tell clients, I think I've told clients this, like I said at the beginning, I was a professional renter. I'll never forget when we bought our first home, and I ended up going to one of our clients' home. She invited us over there because her and her husband had just decorated. And I was just blown away of how she decorated. She had this nice little 1,000 square foot bungalow that's downtown. And guys, when I tell you, it looked like a magazine article. It was just beautiful. And my husband and I, we had just bought, but again, I had been renting for so long. I was programmed to not putting pictures on the wall. I didn't paint. I had it as low. My personality was nowhere in that house, in the homes or in the apartments, because I wanted to make sure at the end of the day, guess what? I got my security deposit back. Well, I never forget when we left her house, we got in the car and we was leaving. And my husband and I, we looked at each other and said, you know what? We're going to decorate. And that started the trend of realizing that, oh my gosh, I actually own this. I can paint a wall if I choose to. I can put this picture up. I can, put, floating shelves and everything else. Just things that you don't think about when you are renting because of the fact you don't really have that type of control. Another thing is that subject to rent increases. Sometimes you may have that extra $100 you're paying. Sometimes it may go up extremely high. You know, with inflation happening and people not being able to charge rent, a lot of landlords, I had a lot of clients who were like, Angelina, my rent has gone up, you know, $200, $300, $400, $500. And at this moment, I need to just go ahead and buy. And so that is something you cannot control. And it's either, hey, you pay it or you let us know so we can advertise for somebody else to come in. That's kind of how the setup is. Like, you don't get a chance to vote, you know, on whether it's worth it or not, you know. And so that's something that you have to keep in mind. Another thing is, yeah, you have a little bit of flexibility, but also with that have lack of stability. You know, there's a reason why. You ever wonder why when you're applying for certain accounts, whether it's credit cards, it don't even have to be a house, or when you're applying for a job, or where you're applying for open account, a jewelry store, credit card, or anything. What's one of the questions they ask you at the bank? Do you rent or own? Because they look at that as being a little bit more stable if you own versus renting. Sorry about that. So those are things you want to keep in mind. That's why I asked that question, because that shows to where if you're stable or not. Can we be able to lend them this money? Can we be able to give them this account? Can we be able to offer sometimes jobs? They ask on job, you know, job applications. You know, those are things that you have to keep in mind. They feel that it's a difference. And then you have less control over your living environment. You know, you can't tell them, hey, you need to change this out. You have no control on how the roof looks, the doors look, the paint look, the windows look. It's nothing that you can be able to do except for deal with what you signed up for. And they want it to look a certain way. Now, some people still go in there. Oh, excuse me, guys. I don't know what's going on. That's in my... been outside a lot, so I guess it's starting to affect me now, my allergies. Excuse me. And so those are the things that, you know, you have to just consider when it comes to renting. Now, let's talk about buying. Buying has its advantages and also has its disadvantages. So we're going to talk about it. I told you I was going to be fair. So with buying, guess what? You remember I told you didn't have equity? Guess what? When you buy that same $17,500 we talked about, guess what? You have equity. So instead of you giving away that $15,000 a year, guess what? That $15,000 is going towards an asset that you can either sometimes pull out when you're either purchasing, that you can pull out if you need to do, you know, a HELOC where if you need some of the funds, which a lot of people are doing it now, is they got a whole bunch of equity. Or when you're ready to sell and buy your next home, you can use that to go towards the next home. Guys, in the great thing about real estate, there's a reason why people continue to always buy real estate, whether it's for their primary homes or for investment purposes. You are better off taking that $15,000 and putting it in the property versus keeping that $15,000 in the bank. Because how much do you get off of your money in the bank? You don't get anything off of it. You know, you may get little dividends, like 10 cents. The little 10 cents they put on there, 7 cents. And 10 cents is actually gracious. Other than that, you're not getting that much money from there. So guess what? But you do when you invest in real estate. Even if, let's say you bought your house for $200,000 and you sold it 5 years later, and it was still, guess what, $200,000. Those, and we're going to use the say $15,000 a year for easy math. Let's go ahead, because I love pulling out my calculator. All right, we're going to do that for 5 years times 5. That's $75,000. Now, of course, you're going to pay interest and things on that. But guess what? You're going to get a portion of that more likely back. Even if the house sells at $200,000, you will get the majority of that back. Now, if you rent for 5 years paying $75,000, guess how much you're going to get back? You're going to guess how much you're going to get back. You're going to get that same $2,500 you put in there the first time. The same $2,500. So 75,000 for 5 years to get back 2,500 versus 75,000 for 5 years, possibly you can get back 75. And now, hey, if you bought back before inflation, you're getting that and then some. So, guys, those are the things you have to keep in mind when you're looking at when it comes to buying. Um, the potential, the property value appreciation. Guys, nobody knew that in 2020, COVID hits, that it was automatically going to take and skyrocket home prices. I've been doing this for a decade. I remember everyone was preparing like, hey, everything's coming to a halt. And it was like it went to a halt, and next thing you know, it just took off. So I literally had people who bought the year prior, and they might have bought. I remember I had one client who bought a house brand new at $470,000. We were able to sell that same house within a year for, guess what, $570,000. So in a year, less than a year, this person made back what their down payment was and everything, plus an additional 6 figures. It was unheard of. It was unheard of. So can you imagine what equity people are sitting on for those who bought prior? Guys, this is what home buying does. And yes, I hear, people, oh, the prices were high back then. Yes, but guess what? They're high now. They're high now. And people are still making money off their properties right now. All right. Stability and control. It shows long-term stability when you also live in a home and you purchase property. You have control over your living environment. If you want to paint that wall, you can. If you want to put that picture up, you can. If you want to change out certain things, you can. You could change out your door, you can. And I get it, guys. I know some people like, oh, HOA. Yes, you have an HOA. Unless you're going to stay somewhere to where you're out in the middle of in rural areas or very, very, very established, even with older neighborhoods, they're still establishing HOAs. It may not be as strict, but they do have HOAs. Guys, the HOAs are there to maintain your property value. They're there to make sure that you're not keeping your property up and then your next door neighbor's letting their fence fall in. All you see yellow flowers. Look, and I said yellow. My son is coming out of me. If you don't know, I'm originally from Greenwood, South Carolina. So it's coming out of me, yellow. YELLA. But yellow flowers on the next lawn because they haven't cut the grass in about 2 months. And you're wondering if somebody still lives there because the grass is so high. But apparently there are people that still live there. A whole bunch of people who could cut the grass, they haven't for whatever reason. They're there to make sure that if you choose to sell your house, that when people are driving by, they're not seeing the person who has the fence that's falling over because they won't fix it and they won't cut the grass. Because guess what? When buyers drive by your house, they're looking like, oh my gosh, this home is beautiful. They've been taking care of it. The yard looks good. And then they see your neighbors like, look at the neighbors. And the question they ask themselves is, do I want to come home to that every day? So yes, if the HOA, depending on the type of HOA you have, they're there to make sure they maintain that value for the neighborhood. Okay. And so, yes, but you still have control over your property. And you have the freedom to make certain renovations. If you want to knock out a wall, add a closet system. That seems to be a big thing. Add a pool. You have the right to be able to do that. Guys, and another thing, now I told you that you're building equity, but guess what? You get tax benefits. The government loves when you own something, whether it's property or a business. And when you own property, guess what? The government loves that. And so you're able to file some of those benefits on your taxes. And you know what? I'm going to have a lady on here that's going to tell you exactly how you do that too. That's going to be on one of my segments. You can't do that if you're renting. There is nothing you can be able to claim for renting when you are, there's nothing you can be able to claim your taxes when you're a tenant. Versus when you have a home, you can claim that on your taxes, guys. Get more money off your paycheck. You could do that because you own something. All right. And not even that, not only that, when you're selling your residence, if you've owned it for at least 2 years. So guess what? Okay. For people who did get all that equity in their home, as long as they own it for at least 2 years, and maybe let me give my disclaimer. Please check this with your accountant, your CPA or your accountant when it comes to the tax benefits. Okay, guys, please check with them. All right. But right now with capital gains tax, if you own that house for at least 2 years, that six figures, $50,000, $75,000, guess what? You don't have to worry about getting taxed on that. Isn't that wonderful? It's wonderful, isn't it? So these are the benefits. And then also, another thing is you have the investment opportunity. You have another way. So I've given you two ways of how you get money off of a home. You have appreciation. Okay, that's one. You have tax benefits because you're going to be getting money back from that. This is your third way of how you could be able to get money off of owning property. You can rent it out. You can become the landlord, the same landlord that's charging you $1,250, and then you pay them $15,000, and at the end of the year, you only get back, you pay them $15,000 plus your 2 months rent, which is $17,500. You're able to now become that same landlord that charges that, and somebody's going to pay you 15 grand or more a year, and all you got to do is give them back their security deposit. That's 3 ways of how you could be able to take property to own it for yourselves. Now, I said I was going to be fair. There are some disadvantages depending on who you are. There are some disadvantages. You do have higher costs when you're now getting a home. There's so many programs, and it's not all the time. There's so many programs right now that you could be able to qualify for, from 100% financing to low down payment. And then also, as far as with some of the 100, like I said, I'm going to have Natasha back. She has 100% conventional, but I know of 100% FHAs, conventionals, portfolios, all of that's available. So you have access to those things where sometimes you pay less than what you would have paid to get into an apartment. So these things are available. And even if you can't qualify for those programs, let's just say you do have to put a down payment down. Let's say you have to put down $5,000 to $10,000 down. Guess what, guys? That's going towards an investment. It's going towards an asset. It's not going to your landlord that he only is going to give you a percentage back. That is going towards your asset. So when you sit there and you buy that property, sell that property, you pay back. You got some skin in the game. So it's not as if you're just throwing it away, if that makes sense. All right. You are going to be responsible for that house. And I'm going to do a segment about maintaining your home. Guys, when you have your home, maintain your home. You do have to do that. You can't call Mrs. Smith, who was the Supra at your apartment complex, and say, "Hey, I need you to come and fix this." He may do it on the side if he's moonlighting. You never know. But you are responsible for that. A good rule of thumb, they say, is save between $1,500 to $3,000 after you buy a house to go towards repairs, as is your emergency fund. But you do have certain maintenance that you have to do. But the great thing is now, especially with a lot of these energy efficient homes, they don't have that much that really is wrong with them. And with so many new construction homes now, the new construction homes already have warranties with them. They have their I call it like a 1-year bumper warranty, along with they have the HVAC. If you go and register your HVAC, sometimes they can give you up to 5-10 years worth of warranty. And then you have a 10-year structural warranty. So yes, you still have things that you're responsible for, but you can also get additional home warranty that kind of can take care of certain things. Either way, let me tell you, that $15,000 that you pay in a year, you won't have that much of it. Just as long as you maintain it. But you do have to cut your grass. We don't want to see the yellow flowers. Cut your grass. That could be some great exercise. Or if you have somebody, you get a little neighborhood child to be able to do it for you, hey, do it. And pay them some money, they'll do it. And with moving, you may not be as flexible, because when you rent a house, you could be able to say, okay, my lease is up, let me go ahead and go. But here's the thing. Nowadays, people are selling. We have people all the time who may stay in a home for a year, maybe 2 years, and then they're now moving. A lot of these jobs, they used to say that, hey, buying a home is less flexible with moving, but a lot of positions now, If they need you to move, guess what they have? Relocation companies where they will sometimes buy your house. You see that? They'll buy your home and they will also help you move. So it's not as less flexible as it used to be with owning a home. With all these different programs from jobs, they'll have their relocation companies. Now we're in a market where people are buying. You can even be able to sell your home. Now, things you do have to worry about if it's within that 2-year time frame. Okay, well, you do have capital gains tax. And again, with that disclaimer, please talk to your accountant or your CPA, please. Okay. All right. And another thing is sometimes they always people, well, what about the market? What if the market plunges? What if this happens? Market risk. Guys, I've been around in this now for 10 years in doing this and 7 years in foreclosures. Yes, we had the foreclosure boom in 2008, but that boom was due to a lot of just loans of people not qualifying for the amount of loans that they had. That's what that had to detail. Now they're asking you for everything except for your firstborn son and the blood sample to get a house. So they're checking those financials. All right. Another thing is, even though they thought that the market was going to plummet, remember they said the market was going to plummet with COVID, and it didn't. It shot up. But there are ways to, whereas if that's something that you're worried about, of how you can be able to prepare yourself. One is by paying more towards your mortgage. Two is by putting more down, not refinancing and always pulling out that money all the time. There are ways to protect yourself or be more prepared if you're worried about what the market's going to do. And also maintaining your house, guys. Don't be trying to keep that HVAC on its last leg if you know it's not. You got duct tape holding that pipe up. just, just switch it out if you can. Switch it out. Save up, get that HVAC done when you possibly can. Put it on a credit card, do something. Just maintain your home. All right. Don't try to do too much things yourself that can affect the integrity of the house. That way, when we're able to market it, we can be able to do what we need to do to get it done. But these are the things that you just want to kind of keep in mind between the differences of renting versus buying. And the financial considerations of this, guys, is you want to think about the affordability. Now, like I said, when I was renting, you can rent a 3-bedroom, 2,000 square foot home for $1,350. Can you do that right now? I need somebody to put in the chat how much rent is right now for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath in Columbia, South Carolina. I would love to know that right now. I know how much some of the apartments are because I have my clients tell me. I do know. But those are the things you want to take a look into. Rent is high. And with you being able to claim the house on your taxes, be able to get a little bit more of your income, have that stability, guys. And with these programs, you sometimes either come out either paying rent, how much you pay for rent, a little bit less, depending on it. Also consider the market conditions. Hey guys, we are in a part where the interest rates are higher than what they've been. But again, there are a lot of programs that we can be able to have you take a look into to see what's going to be the best fit for you. Don't get so caught up in what the interest rates are and think about what you want to pay on a monthly basis, which brings me to your monthly budget. Look at what your budget is, because we could be able to make things work to have your budget in place to where it's just like, okay, Angela, I don't want to spend no more than $1,800 for my mortgage. Well, we could take that and make those numbers work. We could do that. But you have to also understand that you're not going to get 5,000 square foot home. And yes, it's not going to be the same type of home that your auntie got when the interest rate was 3%. $1,700 a month back then got you about 4,000 square foot. It does not get you that now, but it still will get you in something to where you can be able to buy and build to get to the 3,000 to 4,000 square foot home without it costing you an arm and a leg. There's ways of doing that. Okay. Because when you buy a house, you're getting equity, you get an appreciation, and you put it towards your next home. And another thing is think about your long-term goals. Think about what it is that's important to you, what your plans are. If you know that you're one of those people that move every 3 to 5 years, hey, you can still be able to purchase a home. Because remember, five years, you're still giving the landlord how much? $75,000. You could be able to get a home with that. Now, if you're someone that you move every 6 months, then hey, what you could do is get you a home, and guess what? You rent it out. Get you a home in a popular rental area, and then you rent it out. So you can still own property and rent it out to somebody else to gain income, get your equity, and then get some cash flow off of it. All in all, the decision to rent to buy is based upon each personal circumstances, your financial situation and your long-term goals. Our job as agents is to advise you of what the opportunities are available for you. And that's what I pride myself on doing, and what we pride ourselves doing here is looking at your situation, talking to you about what it is you're trying to achieve, and show you how home ownership can be done. Guys, one of the best things I could have done, and I was selling real estate at the time, but one of the best things I could have done, hey, Felicia, I see you on there. But one of the best things I could have done was to purchase my own home, because it's just, when you see how it works and you understand how home ownership works and how owning properties, how it works for you, it's a no-brainer. It just is. So thank you so much for listening. If you, did anybody have any questions? I see people that's on the chat. If you have questions, please put it in the chat. But guys, I want you to reach out to us. If you want to discuss this further and say, hey, Angelina, I just want to see if this is going to be the right change for me, please give me a call. Put my information down here. Put that on there at the bottom. There it is, right there. That's my personal cell phone number and my business cell phone number, meaning you'll get to me. And that's my email address. Guys, give me a call. Let's set up a consultation. And hey, it is a no obligation consultation, meaning that we're going to be there just to talk to you about what it is that's important to you. And is this something for you to be accomplished? And guys, if you're wondering if you could be a homeowner or not, the answer is yes, you can. You could be a homeowner. We just have to go through and get the right process for you. Okay. All right. Now, as always, guys, I thank you so very much for listening and watching. Hey, these Tuesday tune-ins, thank you all so much for letting me know in regards to what you think about them. I've been having a lot of people reach out to me saying, hey, please continue to do these. They appreciate them. I'm going to keep them up. I want you all to continue to join me. You can see these on Facebook Live. You can also see them on Instagram Live. And if you need to recap them, they're also on our Deals With Angie page channel on YouTube for you to go on there. LinkedIn, Twitter, X, formerly known as Twitter, has this too. And if you want to find out more about it, you don't have to wait till the Tuesday tune-in. You could call me at 803-201-3391, and we can be able to talk about it a little bit more. And we can set up an appointment to find out what your goals are and how we can be able to assist you. Okay. As always, guys, thank you so very much to all the fathers out there, people who are in father roles, who have taken children on their wings, and you being a mentor. Happy Father's Day to you all. Thank you so very much for what you do. You guys have a great and a blessed one. Thank you.